Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am so excited to be back with Paulie Rojas for her 8th interview, which is actually, this is the beginning of her 2nd year of growth series. So welcome, Paulie.
Hi, Cassie. Wow, 8 interviews already?
I know, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So next week you'll have been in the Enchanted Circle for 18 months.
18 months. Oh, okay. So there's lots of 8s popping up.
There is lots of 8s popping up. Yeah. So we all know 8 is the infinity symbol. Does it have
Right.
another meaning for you? Is it significant?
It does now.
Awesome.
Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, infinity's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, tell us how your future self has been showing up.
Super playful, really aware, excited, expansive, truthful, aware, focused, lots of really good stuff I'm realizing. All that have been like mined and explored in the Enchanted Circle. So
Yes.
it just continues to deepen, which is so great. And it's funny because any given day I might wake up and be like, that feeling of, and then I'm like, wait a minute, like take a step back, like, and then I'll go through a gratitude list of like, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. There's so much to be grateful for, and it really helps. And to bring it to the Enchanted Circle and talk about it also deepens that awareness, which is, oh man, it makes a world of difference.
I love that. So since you brought it up, let's just share, what is it like to have that place where you come and you're like, this is all awesome and this is all happening, and to have other people hear it and witness it.
Well, it makes it feel even more true and resonant, and that like the energy is actually dispersing into the universe even more, because there's people. I love that there's a really sweet new person from Switzerland that's just joined. I'm like, oh my god! It's evidence because I want to live in Switzerland or have some kind of connection in Europe or live in Europe, and so that like my energy that was brought into the Intense Circle is also like dispersing into Switzerland, and you're in Texas now, and in New Hampshire, and it's so cool to have a place to come and bring these these new awarenesses and what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
And to get it mirrored back, because what we share is always so it's like a world of possibilities being open up. So then there's so many benefits, because then I open up my own awareness of like, oh, someone brought up that they have a healthier relationship with their mom, and that in turn is mirrored back to me in my relationship with my mom, or any relationship. It's like it's just like a microcosm of growth and expansion. I keep coming back to the word expansion, because it just feels like it infiltrates everywhere.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly it. It's like the energy, the tentacles of everything you want are like being heard in all these different beacons around the world.
I love that, beacons. Yeah. And it also like it I think it really like solidifies my focus on what I'm paying attention to outside of the Enchanted Circle.
Yeah.
So I'm more likely to look at all the good stuff and all the great stuff and how things are really moving in my favor throughout any given day, versus if I didn't have the Enchanted Circle, it'd be so easy to slip into old habits and old noises in my head that I want to do away with.
Right. Say more about that. Like, how does having this place because I totally get it. I want listeners to hear it, because I think this is I know it's one of the keys in truly growing and expanding. So say a little bit more about, like, if you didn't have this to come back to, how easy it would be to go back to other things.
Well, it is a place where I'm held accountable to bring in nothing but high flying vibes and things that you want to offer into the world anyway, right? So if I didn't have it, it would be so easy to wake up on the wrong side of the bed and let that escalate more and more. And if I get some challenging situations happening, then I'm less likely to ride the wave with resilience and like seeing the future self outcome. Like I think you talk about this metaphor. It's like putting the GPS into my day. Like I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
have a great day. It's gonna be an incredible day. Everything, like my future self is pulling me towards her. And so more than likely I'm gonna take the fastest route to her. And if I didn't have
Yes.
it, I'd be going, you know, I wouldn't have a GPS, and maybe I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and the day just continues to go to hell because I didn't have a focal point that was, um, guiding me through to where I want to go.
Yeah. I love it. And then that day generally becomes 2.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah, true. And then you have like a bad month, and then you have like a bad year. So, which I've had many, and since then I haven't. I mean, since knowing you and the Enchanted Circle, my life is it's just a product of a really beautiful, just day after day something magical happens because that's what I'm tuned into. And because now I
Yay.
know that I have the choice to make it magical. Like it's
Mhm.
not an outside thing. I
Yeah.
choose to, I make the decision that magic happens everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yay. Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And I love that you use the word magic because that's enchanted means to add magic to.
I love when you said that. I wrote that down and I look at it all the time. I love that so much.
Oh, so good. I love it. Very cool. So what is you use the word expansion, which I love, which is exactly what happens, especially like 18 months in, you're starting to hit this place of I think it's where the gas starts to go a little bit more. Like, everything moves faster when you're in the Enchanted Circle, right? You're like things are happening and going, but then like once
Yeah,
you've been in for like 18 months, feel like things just start moving faster because
yeah.
you're
Including bad things. I just want to
good.
like
Yeah.
sometimes bad things move away quicker.
Yeah. Say more.
Like if I'm having a fight with my boyfriend, I would, in the past I would dwell and be mopey and sensitive and what's gonna, and now I'm like, okay, we love each other. This is just part of it. This is an opportunity of growth and learning and communicating. And then after this, it's gonna be like we're gonna find each other um, in a deeper connection. It's gonna work out even better. So like
Yes.
that goes away, the bad stuff goes away. Or like if I didn't get and I know we're going to talk about auditions, but if I didn't get the part, I would not just like eat a whole ton of ice cream, but I would be depressed and like watch Netflix for the next week, and this
Yeah.
time like, no, this is not the way it is. I didn't get this because something bigger is happening, because it's teaching me something, because it's getting me closer to something. Like the bad stuff just isn't bad anymore. Or and it's like it's kind of exciting sometimes because you can find meaning, you feel more powerful, and it's more creative. So
Yes.
starting, I don't love having bad things happen, but it is an opportunity to get creative and have fun and you know choose to be powerful.
Yes. Oh, I love all that. And you're so right. Because once you learn to process those things faster and you have that GPS point, which is also pulling you through them. Like once you
Mhm.
move through those things, like then the good stuff also comes quicker because you're moving through that other uncomfortable stuff faster.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So let's talk about, and because we are like at the 18th month mark, so you talked a little bit about it, but how would you describe yourself, the audition process 18 months ago?
Okay. Well, I think it's just starting to shift now since we have
Mm-hmm.
focused on auditions, but it would go something like this. Oh, la la la, I'm doing my day. I get an audition or an email from my agent, and it would say like audition tomorrow 12 p.m. and I would go, crap, oh man, like this sucks. Like I don't know how it's gonna fit my day, and also why, like it's just a waste of time because I never get them anyway, and why am I even showing up, and it's not even fun, and all I'm gonna do is feel bad about myself. So like at worst, like it was like I could go deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And so then I would go, like even though that was my background, like in my head, I would still like force positivity and be like, no, like you're the answer, you're the winner, you're the one they want. It was just like covering up like a pile of poop with like cake frosting. Like it wasn't really doing anything. And I was like, as much as my intention was to feel good, but it just didn't. I would go in, and sometimes it feels good, and sometimes something might happen. Like it was very much left to chance, and it just that was how I've seen auditions for a very long time. So
Mm-hmm.
then it started with me saying, and I've always been talking about auditions makes me feel really vulnerable because I'm an actress and I feel like I'm supposed to be really good at them,
Right.
and I'm supposed to go in and win them over. And because my past, I haven't done that. I feel like, well, maybe I'm not even a real actress at all. So even bringing it up on the calls make me feel really vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I just did it because you teach us to be courageous. And so I said, hey, Cassie, like I get this feeling, and I don't want to have it anymore. I want to be excited. And you were like, okay, well, why don't you look at auditions as like the possibility of what could happen in the room, like fall in love and dream about the possibilities, how far it can take you. And it sounded, when you were saying it, like in my body, it felt elation, right? But I
Uh-huh.
also felt like, but that's gonna be so disappointing because it's when it doesn't happen, it's gonna hurt.
Right.
Um, and we were like, no, like don't, whatever the outcome, just like think of the beauty and the grandioseness of the possibility of what could happen. So then I'm like, all right, I can easily do that. I had a Tylenol commercial or something the next day or that day, and I, the whole subway, I was like, oh my God, the possibility of doing a Tylenol commercial. Like maybe, I always talk about Steven Spielberg. He's going to see that commercial and maybe he's going to be like, that's the girl, like, oh, dream as big as possible, right? So I get to the audition and like, it was like in and out, like no interest in me at all. Ah, shoot, man, like that didn't go as I wanted to. So, but having said that, dreaming of the possibility felt so good. Felt so,
Mm-hmm.
so good. So I knew there was a part that was on track. So the next day I'm on the call, I'm like, Cassie, this happened, and I feel really silly, And you're like, well, what? Like, it doesn't. You made your audition all about them, like all the people in the room, and auditions are like anything in life. It's about your perception. Like, don't give away your power by making it about their perception. It's about you showing up and loving the fact that you showed up and loving the fact that this is who you are now and loving the fact that, one of the mantras you gave me, Cassie, was I get paid to tell the truth. So showing up,
Yes.
just tell your truth and who you are and just be in love with that. It's all internal. It has nothing to do with anything that's going on in the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So I got two things. I'm going to dream of the possibilities. I'm just going to make it all about me and my own experience, and it doesn't matter, because I know that, I think this is very common with actors, I guess with all human beings, wanting validation. It's like we look for, the okay. Are we okay? Like the feeling of belonging in the outside world. So I'm like, okay, possibility, and I'm just going to make it about me and my experience. So I go to an audition like an hour or two later, and I have a blast. I like it. It was like a lot of script, and there were a bunch of girls there, and we went in groups, and I did it. I felt really, really good. I got back home, and I got an email that they said, can you turn around? They want to see you again. So I got a call back. I'm like, oh wow, this is great. This is really cool. So I go back. I do the call back. It felt really good in the room, but I was so aware that this was for me. I'm not here to please anyone. This was because I was
Mm-hmm.
having a good time. And of course I get home and I get the email that says, you booked the job. Like, don't do anything from this day to this day. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh my God, it was so cool. And I text you, Cassie. I'm like, you'll never believe it. Yeah. So that was such a pivotal, like earth shattering experience, because now I can love going to auditions because there's
Yes.
pressure. It's me. It's just me and me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, there's growth and excitement and possibilities and dreams. And yes, like it can not go my way, but it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean anything other than something great is like something better is coming, and I have the tools to get myself there, and that like inspiration will continue to lead, and things will open up and come to me in a way that I
Yes.
will be showing up even in even bigger ways than I could have before.
Absolutely. That is amazing. I love hearing that. How
Yeah,
does it feel to be that actor?
it feels a million times easier. uh, it feels like less work. It feels like I even, and it feels like I can genuinely have a good time at an audition. And And it's really cool because the last 2 auditions I've had, one, I've gone in with that mindset of
Mhm.
possibility and just like having an internal experience, the most joyous internal experience I could possibly have. And the first one, the casting director was like, "You should have your own TV show. You really deserve it. You're just so good. You're a movie star." And I'm like, "Oh, I love this. This is great. I can get used to this." And then the second one I had, I did it with a casting director that saw me do this a show, a theater, a play that
Mhm.
came out of the blue, which was pretty cool. And as soon as I got there, he was like, "Oh my God, what do you want to talk about? Because I really want you to get this job." I'm like, "Wow, this is fun." You know?
Right.
Yeah. So,
I love that. And
yeah.
that was the one, I think this is important to bring up, right?
Mhm.
So before that one where he was like, "Oh, I love you. I want you to get the job." We had a conversation because again, it was, and it gets less and less, or it's the listening, like you said, gets deeper. But we
Yeah.
had a conversation about like, what should you wear?
Oh,
And
yes.
how would that affect, and what do they want, right? What do
Right.
they want to see me as, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always, not always, it has been the crux of auditions. Sometimes it's like they'll say quirky girl, we want a quirky girl, or we want like confident but vulnerable, or they
Yeah.
the terms like we want her to be really young but have an old soul. And you're like, what the, like, okay, like it's up to, and you, I always think they have a picture of what they want, right?
Hmm.
So then I think, in like right away when I get those, I'm like, oh, some outfit or something comes up in my mind. But then I think, oh no, but they're actually looking for this, so I'm gonna go with what I think that it is that they want, because that's gonna get me the job. And so this time though, before going to this audition, and this was for like quirky hipster girl, and so I had this outfit in my mind that I love to wear. And then I was like, oh, but they want like a really hipster, quirky girl. So I'm like Googling what hipsters wear, and should be easy because I'm in Brooklyn, you know. And I'm like, but Cassie, do I wear my hair up? Do I wear like eyeliner? Do I wear like lip gloss or just like chapstick? You know, just these little details that in the long run, they don't matter. Like
Right.
what matters, we what I discovered working through this with you is go with what makes me feel good and what makes me
Mhm.
feel confident. I know it's such a like an obvious thing, but the reason why that's important was what I hadn't come to terms with. And what I discovered with you was that if I go into this, when I go into places, like an audition or a job interview or whatever, feeling really, really good, what happens is I'm showing them my best, like my happiness, my what I'm giving off is someone that is happy with themselves.
Mhm.
And what you said that was really poignant to me was like maybe they'll in you showing up fully and expansive and feeling good, maybe they're going to see something that they hadn't seen before or hadn't thought of before, because a person that hadn't shown up fully and expansive like you
Mhm.
hasn't come into their sight like that. I don't
Yeah.
know if I said that. Yeah, if I said that right. But like they might see something that they wouldn't have otherwise seen had I not shown up fully who I am, and in my, just being happy and confident and excited about who I am, versus what I think that they're going to see. So they're going to see a person that has like an idea of something that's not really true, not true, but just not really, like it doesn't fit them as well, but it's they appreciate the effort kind of thing. Like nothing really, really awesome can come from that, but possibility of something absolutely like cool and just like the possibilities of something really wonderful happening are so much better when we show up feeling really good, because they see something that they might have not have seen had I just shown up as something that I was half-hearted about. And
Right.
also I learned like that if I do something half-hearted and I get it, it's like I don't want to get things that are half-hearted. I want
Mm.
to be part of things that see me and like um in this like light of me, of
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's easy. It's just easier to be me and bring what I can bring versus like try to bring something that's not really me and guess at what I think it is. It's
Oh,
not that exciting.
yeah. And that's such a good, oh, that's so huge because you're right. Like if you get the half-hearted things,
Hmm.
that's what you continue, and it
Yeah.
becomes, there's stories of actors and actresses, I think, everybody, all like in the famous people genre, like
Mhm.
that did it for someone else, and eventually later down the road, like it broke, you
Right.
know,
Right.
whether, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I do always think, oh, but maybe they'll like, maybe this will turn into something, and maybe that, and maybe this. But that's so much work for something that could like, not even pan out. Versus like,
right.
if I'm just like, stay grounded in who I am and what I have to offer, um, and just trust and align and keep going and down the inspired way. Even if something doesn't happen, I stayed grounded in who I am, um, and just inspired in my own way. And that
Hmm.
feels better than not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it creates more like it gives you the part quicker, right? Because it's going to be in total alignment with who you are. So when that part shows up,
Hmm.
it's it's gonna show up quicker because there's no friction of energy going on.
Right. And I feel like, those stories where they're like, she just showed up and it was hers. Like everyone, like sent
Yes.
everyone else home. Like, I feel like that can only happen to the person that knows who they are, and all like 100% of the time shows up that way. And it won't,
Yes.
maybe that wouldn't happen if with the half-hearted, maybe kind of this is what they might want person. Like that stuff doesn't happen to the maybe kind of half-hearted person. It
Right.
happens to like a wholehearted, like expansive person that
Yeah.
I'm becoming.
Yeah. Well, and as someone who's like casting someone to basically be someone else, like the
Hmm.
person who's wholeheartedly themselves, if to think
Hmm.
energetically, is easier to see like that they could expand into a different place, like
Yeah.
expand into the character, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm having another aha moment with you, but it's also like
Hey.
they they wanted like a quirky hipster, and I showed up with my version of who I am as, you know, how I see myself as authentically as a hipster, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe it's not the look they were going for, but they love my energy, and they just love what I'm like, how I come into the room. It's so easy to like give me a hipster outfit.
Right.
They can't like change my energy, like, or they can't change what I'm giving off from the inside out.
Yes.
So
You did nail it, right? There's
yeah,
literally somebody whose job it is to give you the
exactly, yeah,
outfit. Yeah.
right, right. But no one can give me who I am
Mhm.
in like as expensive and high vibes as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. How does that aha feel?
Great, because I mean it's so funny. Like at the audition, I wore the outfit I wanted to wear, and the casting director who was like, "I want you to get the part." He like had hipster like these like hot pink framed like granny glasses.
Yeah.
Here, put these on. These are. And I'm like, he already had something for me to wear to just put on, so that they can be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we see it. We see the hipster." You know?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was my favorite part. Like they did know what they wanted and they just like they had it for you, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but I think again, if I showed up like, is this what you want? Like, you
Mhm.
like me? Then he might be like, just skip the glasses. Like, thanks for coming.
Right. Yeah.
He wouldn't have been inspired to give me glasses.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. That is awesome.
yeah.
I love it. So how is this new I have two questions. I think I want to ask this one first.
Okay.
How did like this is a huge shift and we couldn't have done this work even if you were vulnerable enough, right, to like bring it up in the first month or two or whatever. We
Yeah.
couldn't have done this work.
No way.
um right. How come? Yeah.
Oh man. I think I was so attached to how I wanted something to happen. Like I was attached to the outcome and the like how I wanted it. Like I was like stuck on the details. Like um I want to do this big movie, and I want them to say this about me, and I want it to be like this, and I was so like um it was about the specific details, which is okay, but what I was missing was the feeling that I wanted to have, and the feeling that I wanted others to feel around me. So
Mhm.
when we started getting more like in on feeling, people, like you talk about magic all the time, like it's irresistible that you feel magic inside of you, and it's irresistible that you make others feel like there's magic around you, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, what like gender, anything. Like magic is magic,
Mm-hmm.
and being in the presence of someone that feels it, that has like love emanating and humor and all that, that's irresistible, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's what I was missing, is the feeling of magic wherever I go, versus like, I'm talented. I did like 8 years of drama training and this, like it has to be this way because I can tell a story, where I was missing the point of it all. It's not about like me being a talented actress. It's about like what artistry is like the feeling of connection and the feeling of like bringing people together, right? And so
Yeah.
I think I couldn't have gotten to that, where I am now, like talking about auditions, because I had a set way that it had to happen for me to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's happening now is I'm seeing like, oh no, if I am happiness, if I'm bringing happiness, if it's about the feeling in the room, that's where everything starts to happen and unfold, and things like start, I get these call out of the blues to be in a play by an Oscar winner,
Yes.
yeah. So I think, I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, I was not in a place when I first started, because what I wanted to do was like just go when I came to you, I was like, I just want to like book every audition. It was all about booking
Right.
auditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but like it takes, like, there's a lot, not that there's a lot of work to do, but we're not there yet. Like I wasn't there yet. I was focusing on the not the wrong things, but the things that weren't going to help.
Right.
Versus what helps is the beingness
Mm-hmm.
that
It
we
does.
talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, the beingness. And I think you wouldn't have even been happy if you booked every audition back then, because it also was simultaneously, I want to book everything, but
Yeah.
also it's not big enough.
Yeah. I just wanted the validation that I was a working actress that booked everything. I think I wanted like I was going after the wrong thing. Like, oh, I want to be able to say I book every job I go out for,
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, okay, it's a good thing I didn't get this. So we can talk about the Chris Evans commercial.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. So it was really cool. I went out for this audition. It was my first audition with this new agency I just signed with. And it was to do a commercial with Chris Evans. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, well, actually, it's funny because I didn't actually know who Chris Evans was. I knew he was famous.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But when I found out he was Captain America, I'm like, oh my God, of course I'm going to be alongside, Chris Evans, Captain America. And so I go to the audition, and it comes down to another girl and I didn't get it. And I was really, really, really bummed. And then what was really cool is like, well, no, I'm not going to be doing a commercial with Chris Evans. Like, Chris Evans is going to get to be in a movie with me. I wanted to show like that much bigger. And going back to you telling me like, dream of the possibilities, like, why not go as big as being,
Yes.
Evans being in that movie with me? And like, this commercial was for this Mexican milk product, and I was going to be a mom of 3. Like, okay, so maybe this is why I didn't get it. Like, the reason and what's really cool is like, we get to choose the meaning of everything. So I'm like, okay, I didn't get this commercial with Chris Evans, but that's because I'm not quite at the stage of being a mom of 3. Like, I still play like
Mm-hmm.
a young person. So there's much like more longevity to my career, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be like a mom of 3 in a Chris Evans commercial. It's going to be like a superhero alongside Chris Evans. It's going to be the way I want it to be. And it's okay that I didn't get this commercial, because it just showed me that Chris Evans is showing up, and it's going to, and even more of that is going to be coming. I'm just starting to align more and more and more with the way I want it to be.
Yes. Yay. Yes. I love hearing you say that, because we've talked a little bit about it, but not this in depth. But like, that is so amazing. And that's absolutely like, that's all true. And of course, superhero side by side versus like mom in a commercial,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, of course I was, man, I didn't get it. But that was the big, like the beginning Paulie that you met that wanted to book everything. And now it's
Mm.
like, I'm a little wiser now with you in the Enchanted Circle. Like, all right, it just means this. And I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to be grateful I didn't get this commercial, because now I'm, if I picture a conversation with Chris Evans, it's going to be like it equals, not just that, oh, I got to
Yes.
be in the commercial, I was a fan.
Yes. And it's such a tribute to your growth that I can't even, I'm having a trouble putting it to words, but for you to see like, no, I'm going to be his equal versus like being upset that you like didn't get this thing, which is definitely like not the equal in the commercial, right? Because he's this
Definitely
like
not.
he's the reason. Like the other part is, it's there because it needs to be, but it's not this, and it just the energy is not the same. And so like to hear you get that and be open, like, no, I'm on his level, and own that, right? I think it used to be like a wanting, and I really
Yeah.
see you own it in this moment.
Good. It feels good to say it, and then I know I'm going to listen back to it and be like, yeah, good job, Paulie. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That you go, girl. Like, but I have the conviction of believing it, and so it's going to be, the belief will become stronger and stronger, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited I'm just like, I love the story, and I love all parts of the story. Like I love the beginning where it was, there's this, this woman who's like, just wants it so bad that you were like doing LOA 24/7, right? And then we were able to sort of slow you down and get you back into your present mind and body, and let you open up to this expansive person who is like, yeah, that's not my part. Like the big movie's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cool because when we were doing the scripting workshop, the last one, which I think was 2 weekends ago,
Uh-huh.
you had me script about my Oscar speech, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. And I was like, oh, this is so great. And I, like, while I was scripting, I got an email, or no, like a DM on Instagram from a friend of mine that I did a drama school thing with. She was like, hey, I wrote a short film and there's a part I would love for you to play. Can I send you the script? I'm like, yeah, of course. And in my head, I'm like, how synchronistic. I'm writing my Oscar speech, and now something's like, I'm getting an offer. This might be like my Oscar speech, like, direction,
Yeah.
And I read the short film, and it was like hot girl who never took an acting class, books a commercial, something like. And it was like 3 lines, and I was like, maybe, okay, so maybe this is where the universe wants me to go, right?
Yeah.
And of course I'm like, oh man, I'm really not a great part. I mean, it's not terrible, but man. And so I brought it to the con. We're like, well, is this your new favorite part? Because we had done the interview, and I had said, like, you had asked me, oh, what's your favorite part you've ever played? And I like got a hit of inspiration. I'm like, oh, I always go with, I'm always going to play what my next favorite thing is going to be, something like that. And then you were like, is this your new favorite part? I'm like, that girl who has never, like, she's kind of a joke because she's, basically saying you don't have to do anything, like, and you get the part. And it's like, oh, it's a catalog model. That's what it was. And so I was like, man, no, it's definitely not my favorite part. And I felt really bad saying to her, like, hey, and I would have said, like, oh, in the past, like, oh, I'm not going to be around for these dates. Instead of, your mantra, I get paid to tell the truth. I said, hey, it's a great vehicle for you. And I'm really happy that you sent this to me. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm looking to play like bigger parts, or parts that are more in line with the things I want to be, something like that. It was very truthful. Yeah. And I sent it, and I did, old me was like, oh, it could have been easier. You could have, like, not just said you were not going to be there, but it felt so good to say that, to just like send that out and say, hey, I want to play parts that are really exciting and align with who I want to be. And she was like, okay, great, thanks, no problem.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and she would have been fine either way, but it felt
right.
It was definitely like stepping into growth with like this. Oh, so when she thinks of me, oh, don't give this part to Paulie, give the part to Paulie that's worthy of what Paulie wants to play.
Right. I love, yes. So this is one of those, like, Yeah. This is one of those deeper, more expansive future self experiences, right? Because you could have, like, had you just made up something like, oh, and I'm busy those days, like, it's not the opportunity to expand and even create your future self.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think I would have been unsettled with like not telling, well, because the work I've been doing with you is like, let the truth like feel good. Let the truth
Yeah.
is the best, right? And so in the past, I would have been like, oh, easy. That was an easy out. Phew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
so the feeling I had was like, oh, I told the truth, and it feels like like I feel like a big girl, and I feel like I respect myself more by
Mm-hmm.
doing that. So I can imagine situations where I will have to, it'll be hard to tell the truth, but at least it'll be like my self respect will grow as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, your self-respect. And I want to highlight this for the audience as well. You said it, but because you said no and you told the truth, like, I'm looking for parts that are more who I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the exact wording was,
Mm-hmm.
then like people look for that. Like you created that in that moment. Like that's like everyone wants to like set intentions, which are amazing, and they're where we start. And the expansion in the depth of your future self comes in those moments, because it's not officially setting an intention. It's
Mm-hmm.
more powerful than that, because it's being the intention.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's
Ugh.
being the intention. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I love that. I'm gonna write that down.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's,
And
we always talk about like setting the intention, but
mhm.
it's like it feels more personal, like deeper to be the intention, to set it and be it, not just like set it and then see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
I
cool.
love that. As we wrap up, I want to just touch on this, because I think it's important that we bring it up. There was some call some months ago. I don't remember all the details. I just remember you asking. We had talked about, you're like, I want bigger representation, or I want to be like, and it was really like, what should I do about that? Right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember
Yeah,
this?
I do. I think it was I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. But yeah, so I have a manager and I have
Mm-hmm.
a commercial and voiceover agent. And what I want is I want a theatrical, we say like movies, TV film representation.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question was like, oh, okay, I see. It was gonna be like, how do I get like a bigger agent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then when we talked about auditions, and you had me write down like how do I want to react when I see the word audition, and script about that, and then rehearse it like it's a, part in the play. And it was like, oh, auditions, I just want to like I have the power when I go into auditions, because I am the one that brings in the creativity and brings in the feeling and brings in like it's like auditions are nothing but, and I like, for me it's like you're dishing out awe, right? You're
Yes.
like it's a bewildering magical thing to be in the room, right? And that's like, how magical can that be? So that's been really shaping my mindset with auditions. And
Mm-hmm.
then so then that was in itself the answer to bigger auditions, is showing up with this magic, being the magic,
Mm-hmm.
and that is going to there's no way, it's like physically impossible that bigger auditions won't follow, because big things follow big expansive people.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm trusting that, and I do believe, and I know that's like, with that, just showing up bigger, fully, happier, excited, I'm the one in control, giving, like, it's my generosity of spirit and creativity that they're asking for, so that will attract the bigger expansive roles. And
Yes.
I really, next interview, I can't wait. I want to be like, guess what, Cassie? I got that big expansive audition.
Yes. I'm so excited for that. And it's
Yeah.
it's so happening, and it's so close, right? Like we can,
Yeah.
yeah, because you've done the, like, now your being is ready for that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not just your mind, but your
I'm ready for
being.
that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, like, be the person who gets those, like, I don't have to do anything but like walk down the street being the person that gets those parts, those auditions, those roles, the like calls out of the blue. Just walk around, be that person. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like calling a million people a day and like, you know, harassing people to give me a part. So yeah, I can definitely do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
So in this moment, what would be your advice for new actors or people who are like, I want to be an actor?
I think that if you want to be an actor, if that's the dream, I think that we've been kind of, not kind of, but we've been like miseducated in a way that we feel like the work is still like the work, the voice work and the theater work and the, you know, all of that. But it's as important, if not more important, to do the internal work of like being the person, the beingness and the like getting like aligning that dream with you internally already before going into like the stress, like the Stanislavski, like the craft is important, and equally as important is the crafting of our alignment in our minds and in our hearts. So and that's fun, and I would focus on that first, like focus on who you want to be first, and then everything else will fall into place.
Music to my ears. That's amazing.
I wish I met you, like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I wish you were in my life when I was a little kid.
Well, you will love this story then. So last night, because I'm in Texas at my brother's, and my mom and we're driving my niece. My niece is 5, and she goes, "Grandma, I want to be an actor when I grow up." I know, and I was like, "Oh," and she goes, "Like in movies and TV, that's what I want to do. Can I do that?" And my mom started to answer because she had like asked her, and she goes, "Yeah, but there's a lot." And my mom started down a story, and I just was like, "Yes, you can."
Oh my God, thank you.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing more incredible than acting. Like that, it's sacred. It's unbelievable. And it's really sad that we get discouraged. Like, oh,
Yeah.
God, there's so many people everybody wants. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's bound to happen.
Yeah. And just coming back to that place of like, that's who I want to be. And it was really cool because as soon as I said yes, my mom was like, "Oh, well, you know, often people take classes to learn how to act." And she's like, "Well, do you want to do that?"
Yeah.
And my niece was like, "Yes."
Oh,
You know, and my mom is like looking for things to, you know, invest for her like
yes.
experiences. And so it was just really, it was awesome. And I'm like, of course you can. Like,
Of course. How old is she? You said 5?
yeah, she's 5.
She doesn't have to do the alignment work. Like she's not,
Right?
you know what I mean? She's like, I wish I could go back to that where she is right now and then start studying acting and all of that.
Yeah.
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 That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so I thought you'd love that. I might not have been able to meet you when you were 5, but I get to be
So you get to
there for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Yeah. So I thought you would love that. I was like, I'm telling Paulie tomorrow, my niece wants to be an
Thank you
actor.
for that. Thank you. I love that. And now, like, imagine having actors like her in the world.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I can't wait. She's going to be a powerhouse.
She is. That's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this part of your journey. And I am so looking forward to this, this next, always I'm looking forward to your next interview, but I'm looking forward to this next like expansion and the next growth, and to just watch things start happening super fast. Cause I know that's what's happening because you're
well, if you know, that's like the biggest compliment ever.
awesome. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today?
I'm just, my heart is filled with gratitude for you and the Enchanted Circle, and it's really cool when we do the interviews to see and hear my progress with you. I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome. I'm grateful for you sharing it. And I would love for you to share how anyone can connect if they, are watching and they saw your face and they're like, she's my person, or they hear you and they're like, yay, she does voiceover. That's my voice. How could someone contact you and connect with you?
Definitely. So I'll give you the email, my email address. It's Paulie, like my name, Paulie, and then tra@gmail.com. So it's paulietra@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing this chapter of your story with us.
Thank you, Cassie.
Love it. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back for Polly's next interview and hear what else is awesome and amazing in her life.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.